break it down. Adam, Lynn, never met, found Elizabeth. I mean, that's pretty sweet. So, I mean, maybe Lynn can, comment on this. Now, the story was always that Elizabeth was buried in the woods.
Yeah.
Now, do you believe that Elizabeth has found peace because you found out it's not legend anymore, it's truth?
And this is probably a podcast to do with Lynn, but
I'll forget it before I get to Lynn.
Lynn has told me that Elizabeth stays because she wants to.
Okay.
She's there with her daughter, and her daughter likes it there, and they're happy.
That's great. I mean, that's all we want in life is the forgotten, not the forgotten, the gone, I guess you might call it, to be happy.
And I think, that it sort of opens up my eyes a little bit to say, because your statement about like finding peace, there are certainly spirits that I tell stories about that if they're hanging around, they're not at peace. And we would hope that they can move on and be at peace. There are spirits that seem to want to stay and want to, they're at peace. They're not looking for peace. They're here. They're happy. And, so I think that there's a large diversity of different types of ghosts, of different types of hauntings that, why they're still here. Some of them might have unfinished business. Some of them might not be at peace, and some of them are very much at peace and happy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people know the reason why I do this, not the podcast, but investigate, is to keep memories alive and get memories straight.
Yeah.
So in her, story that she was buried somewhere where she really wasn't. So that's a memory that gets us straight. And like I said before, it only takes one person to get a story wrong. You have someone going to say, hey, there's someone over here, give the wrong name, and the story's wrong. Maybe that person is staying here because they're not remembered how they want to be remembered. Then once they're remembered, whatever, move on, whatever they want. Maybe they just like it there. I don't know. And it's sad that the most places we do investigate, which this is why this is such an awesome story, is that the most places we do investigate are filled with tragedy. Poorhouses, insane asylums, prisons. I think we gotta start, but people don't want that. It'd be great to investigate places like that where the story ends great.
Yeah,
you found history. I mean, you and Lynn should be very proud of that. I mean, I'm sure you are, but you broke a story that's been since 1700s.
Right. No, that's how I feel, that hundreds of years people have been telling this story, and we now know a lot more information, and knowing, like you said, it's knowing it's not just a matter of proving another realm exists or anything like that. These are real people who lived real lives, and layering in the history and the paranormal like that, you get a more complete and accurate picture of who they were. And I think remembering them is a respect that I hope someone pays me when I'm gone.
Yeah. I mean, you're almost starting to sound like 100% believer over there, Adam. I'm not sure.
I do say I'm agnostic, and I have shifted quite a bit in doing this, because like I said, I didn't really intend to do ghost tours when I started. I was planning on just writing a book or doing something more in line of just the history portion of it. But yeah, I would say that I have evolved to believe a lot more than I used to. I mean, growing up, my parents are very, very educated, very, very smart people. And they always told me, Adam, what we know about the world is only a fraction of what there is to know.
Yeah.
And I believe that is true, that, we think we're very advanced scientifically, and we have all of this data, but we probably only know just a teeny fraction of what there is to know. So I try not to rule things out. But when I have these cases, these instances where I cannot explain how things happen, the most likely logical answer is it's real.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably like me too. Like, it's hard. Like, I do believe in spirits and everything. I can never prove it. But from my experiences, personal experiences, I can say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you sound like a kind of type of guy that needs, like, there's really no proof besides your experiences. With Lynn, that's probably the most proof you're going to get.
If you take the story of the ice cream, the house with the ice cream and the kid, talking about the making ice cream in his bedroom, or you take this story about Lynn, unless these people, Lynn is very smart. Don't get me wrong. She is a very clever individual. I think she's quite brilliant, but unless she has almost a photographic memory and is able to research, mind you, I invited her to that church on Saturday and we went Sunday. So unless she poured over records all night long to deceive me, there is no other explanation for, because Addison, Cook, Perrin, these are not names that you can link together randomly and be right. There's just no chance of that. So knowing her, knowing the people that I've interviewed, I can say 100%. I don't believe that that they are that they would have had the ability to pull this information out, the time, the resources, and then I don't believe the deception. I don't believe that they're deceitful people. If you put that together, that's where I say the only explanation that makes any logical sense is it's real, and that's what has made me more of a believer. But I'll add to that I heard Lynn one time use this term evidential psychic. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but it basically means she'll hear things, she'll get things, she'll pull things together, and she needs it to be verified somewhere in the historic record or through an experience. And it's not that she doesn't, not that it's not real. It's just that she doesn't know what to do with it. So she puts it on a shelf. She says, I have to put this on the shelf until somebody can confirm or make sense out of what I'm saying. So I'll give you an example of that. While we were doing our first walk on the island, we're standing kind of in a warehouse. There's this it's part of the Chesapeake Biological Lab, and they do scientific research on the Chesapeake Bay. And we're standing kind of in the warehouse section where the loading dock. And she said, this wasn't always here. And I'm, yes, and she said, there were lots of little houses here. And I said, interesting. And she said, well, that doesn't make any sense. She said, in each house, there was one person. And I said, okay. And she says, Adam, this is not making any sense. I said, keep going. She said, well, I'm seeing a wall of water, like a tidal wave almost, but this wall of water coming and washing all these houses into the water. I said, okay. And she said, and the houses are still, some of them are still in the water. She said, this isn't making any sense. We should just move on. I said, so here's the thing. Where we were standing was one of the old cemeteries. And when she's seeing houses with, little houses with one person in them, it's a coffin.
Okay. And
there was a great hurricane in 1933 that flooded the whole island, and those coffins washed away. They came up out of the ground and they washed out, and they found most of them, but not all of them. In fact, we found a coffin not too long ago. It was just a couple years ago. They found an old coffin from 1931, but it had washed out from the 33 hurricane. So she wasn't able to make sense out of what she was picking up, but I could because of the history. I knew the history of what she was talking about.
So, I mean, she's putting the pieces of the puzzle on the table and you're putting it together.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. So, I mean, now that's cool because, like she said, if it can't be verified, I'm skeptical, and I wish more people were like that out there. Mm-hmm. There's so many people out there that like it's a ghost, it's a shadow, it's whatever, and but you need history to verify those. Is some history lost? Yes. But you've also proven if you dig deep enough and long enough, you'll find it too. Yep. So, I mean, there's been places I've been to that we've gotten names, and I try to go over to obituaries, and it's just, 1700s, right. Trying to read that stuff. And my mind is blown. Every now and then you'll find one. Sorry, I need something to drink here. Every now and then you'll find something that matches up. I don't care if you do 100 cases and one matches up, it's worth it to me. Mm-hmm. So,
well, and that's we tell people when we do the psychic tour, we'll tell people she might pick something up and I've got nothing, right? Like, I don't know all the history, and even if I did, not everything has been recorded. So, there's big gaps in what is still available.
So Lynn keeps posting stuff, so I got to throw those out there. Lynn, you gotta email me. I'll email you. You gotta come on the show because you heard some of my shows before, psychics, mediums. I've said some stuff. I am more of a believer than I was 8 months ago, but I think it's being diluted. I don't want to say I can't say fakes. I think a lot of people out there believe they are. Mm-hmm. But I believe also there's people have good imaginations. And some people are going to get mad at that. But that's the way I believe, and it's my show, so I can say it.
Right, Ryan. I'm with you. I actually, and I've told Lynn this. I hope she's not offended that I say this, but one of the reasons that I was so willing to meet with her, because I've never met a unsure of themselves psychic. So I appreciated that because, I think that's. I don't want to say, I don't want to dismiss anybody. Everybody's got their story and they are entitled to it. But people that are very confident in their psychic abilities, I just don't feel terribly comfortable about that because I wonder, how it all works. And my mind's thinking before I go to sleep, I'm thinking, oh, well, why, if they're so confident, why aren't they playing the lottery or things like that? Right.
Yeah.
But working with Lynn, it's really opened my eyes to she's not receiving, what she's picking up is not always super clear. And she's got to make sense through her lens.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me that I can work with. And knowing that she is trying to make sense of it as she's receiving it, that makes sense, and I feel comfortable talking to her about that then, and that's trying to solve what sense it is. Yeah.
I mean, she said one thing right there, like you have to prove it. And I've had people on my show before that are sensitives, mediums, and I'm like, prove it. That's all I ask. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to come out and say you're a psychic medium, prove it. And people can say that same about me. I'm not psychic, medium, or sensitive. I believe we're all sensitives in some sort. But, if you want to come out and bloat it, prove it. And it's just like people always ask me, I work with 130 people. Do you believe in ghosts? Well, yeah, I do. I can't prove it. Like, I don't think there's anybody out there that can. It's just your belief and your feelings. Like she said, it dishonors the people who are now spirits to make stuff up about them.
But it's interesting because Lynn does readings for people, and I hope I'm saying that, readings for people, but she works with people. She'll always say to me, "Oh gosh, I blew that." Almost every time she says, "Oh, I blew it," and then the people come back and say, oh my goodness, that was so eye opening, and like you connected me with some bit of me that was lost. And I think I don't know if it's I don't want to dispute what Lynn said about it being on demand or not, but I think a lot of times what I've seen from her abilities is that I don't think she fully knows that it's happening. I think she thinks she bombed a talk with someone, but in fact, it was exactly what this person needed to hear. And
same with investigation. Some people will go into a location and get nothing, and others will go in the location and get overwhelmed.
yeah,
Right. I mean, we'll throw that up there. Sometimes the spirits just want to be left alone, and that's true. Yeah. We go in these places, they're supposedly so active and try to get some answers or keep memories alive, and nothing all night. I'm fine with that because I just love going in these old buildings, seeing the history of it. So I'm cool with that. When stuff doesn't happen, yeah, it stinks. You go there for a paranormal investigation and no spirits want to talk to you. But sometimes I don't blame them. I'm not the nicest guy to talk to. So.
And to Deborah's point, again, I'm a nerdy historian, right? Like that's where I came from. Like this is my background, not paranormal, not Lynn has told me, and she's told the tour groups, she said, look, everybody is sensitive. Some are more sensitive than others. And I think that is true. Growing up, there were family members that had experiences and things, and I never did. I never did. I'm a more logical and historic minded person, and other people had more religious and spiritual and supernatural occurrences. I didn't have those. I had some, but not to the extent these other people did. And I think that's everybody's just on a slightly different, I guess, what they're sensitive to. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fair. I mean, I always say a lot of people, everybody's sensitive. Just depends how sensitive you are and how sensitive you want to be. I mean, I think you can open yourself up a little bit. I think you're going to get a lot more interaction doing history tours because you're keeping those memories alive. And I think some spirits might want to come to you and talk to you, but it depends if you want to open yourself up too. You don't have to. I mean, whatever. It's your life. So I mean, it's cool. Like everybody's a sensitive, because I always say when I take new people on investigations, they're like, we did not get any evidence. I'm like, you walked in that room and you felt off. Your hair stood up and you didn't want to be in there. Well, there's your evidence. Just because a piece of equipment didn't go off doesn't mean you didn't have an experience. Have you ever had that feeling?
So,
man, I stopped at him.
There have been times, I'm trying to decide how personal I want to get, right? Like, but I think that there are times in our lives where, to me, family is very important. And your family, my personal belief system is that your family that are no longer here still kind of watch out for you. And, there have been times in my life where I've felt them close. And I think, it's not all the time, and it's certainly not a, if I want it, it's not there. It's usually the lowest points in one's time, life where something like that might occur, where people are there to help and comfort.
Yeah, it's when you need it, right? Yeah. We did a show, I don't know, a few weeks ago. Jeff Fent was on, and he makes the Fent box, the famous Fent box and everything. And he's saying he only makes it when it's personal. Well, my grandfather was my mentor and everything. I probably won't get through the story because it's the point of my story, because I had a hard time getting through it. He passed 30 years ago, 30 some years ago. And I'm telling him, like, I don't have anything personal. I have his Navy uniform still, but it's in a frame. I'm not touching that. So I don't really have anything else to put in this, fet box. I mean, because when I want to talk to him, I just talk to him. I don't need physical stuff because he's always there with me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it, and this, I know he's going to tell me every time I ask a question when I need him, when I'm down a little bit. Hey, do this. Like, just like my mom. My mom was a smart ass. If hey, mom, I need this. She'll be like, just get off your ass and do it. I can hear her voice tell me that. She's been gone for, 4 years. So is it our mind making that up, or is that her telling us that? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. You know what they're going to say. They might be saying it. It was very hard to talk about my grandfather during that show.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he was my everything, growing up. So we're done with that topic because I don't want to talk about that.
One of the things that I have been doing, I love to do the research on the history. And speaking of grandfathers, my grandfather died when I was 9 years old, and I've spent quite a bit of time going over a lot of his records because he did a lot with his Chesapeake Bay, and he was a rather fascinating individual. I mean, he was a spy in World War II. He was a professional baseball player. He was in the Coast Guard Auxiliary and went out on rescues, and then he worked with Watermen's Association to try to restore the health of the Chesapeake Bay. Just sort of a man of many talents, and it's been fun doing the research on his life and trying to pick out, even just picking out little news articles where he's in it, and just it makes me feel a little bit closer to him. And he died before I really got to know him, but it's been going over the history, you starting to get a feel for him.
Yeah, starting to get to know him a little bit. And, I mean, you're his blood, so I'm sure there's a lot of him in you, and I'm sure you guys act the same way. Have the same.
In some ways, I hope so. There was a story that I found about him donating quite a bit of money to a charity, and I was like, he was just doing all kinds of things. Like he was a busy man and doing so much good for people, and trying to think of how to make the world a better place. And so I hope I do that. I hope I try to live that way.
I think this is a question here. We'll let you answer this.
It's a great question. I just had this conversation. Let me try to frame it a little bit. So if people say, "Oh, I had a dream of such and such," and I feel like in our culture, Western culture, dreams aren't, people don't put a lot of stock in dreams, right? Like it's, it's very easily dismissed. And whether you're religious or not religious, it's interesting to me that there are religions and cultures that put a lot of belief in the dream. And for those of Judeo-Christian background, it's kind of funny to me when they don't believe in ghosts or they don't believe in the power of dreams. When you look at Joseph in Egypt. I mean, how did he get Pharaoh's favor? It was through interpreting dreams. And it was through that dream of the Pharaoh that he was able to prepare for famine. And so, you've got that. You've got a lot of South American traditions where, dreams and have led them to prepare for the arrival of the Europeans, which not so successful, but still you've got that tradition alive, and it's still very much so in today. So, from a historical perspective, dreaming has always been important to people. And it's only fairly recent in our Western culture that we've been dismissive of dreams. And so to long of it short, if you look at it through history's eyes, the bulk of human existence, dreaming has been an important piece of understanding the reality in which we're in.
There you go, Red Dinger. I cannot answer that question because, to be honest, I have not remembered a dream probably in 35 years. I'm sure I dream. When I wake up, I don't remember anything. So I couldn't answer that one. So I'm waiting to that one dream. And I think when I was in high school, I used to write down my dreams, when I wake up, and it did seem to, collab with a lot of stuff that was happening in my life or was about to happen. Then all of a sudden they just stopped. Mm-hmm. That's just me.
Maybe one day you'll have that dream that will stick with you for a reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, but can't force dreams. So, yeah, Reddy said, thank you, Adam. I appreciate your thoughts on this. I just want to share real quick all my family members who have passed, my aunt, uncle, father, and brothers. They were all together, and I woke up in tears. Mm-hmm. But yet, I felt blessed. Like we said, your family's always there with you. I mean, that's my belief. There's times where I just look up and say hi to them all the time. So
I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's talk about your tours a little bit. We're hour 25 minutes into this. So do you have any plans on expanding or just keep doing the history and see where it goes?
Yeah. Right now it's, it's been growing. So this will be my 4th year. And, the first 2 years I probably did, 100 or so people that I did tours for. And then last year it really kind of took off and has been much bigger. I'm expecting this year to be also exponentially growing. I'm a one-man show, so it's, like doing the tours has been, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love meeting with people. I do the tours for as few as 2 people. And there's tours out there that they have limits on, minimal numbers that need to be reached before they'll do the tour. Yeah. For me, I just love being on Solomon's, walking around the island, talking about the history with people. So, if I've got a couple of people, I'm more than happy to go and walk with them. But, I do need to look at my timing of it all, because as they become more popular, it's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
But as far as expansion, I mean, I loved doing last year doing the psychic tours with Lynn, and I definitely think we're going to do more of those. And, I've done tours at Point Lookout. I've done tours at Solderly Plantation. It's an old plantation on the Patuxent River. And I've done a couple sort of lectures or talks on other places like Leonardtown. So I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I think I want to focus and stay focused on Solomon's. That is where my heart is. And I think eventually if it keeps growing, I might have to bring someone else on to help with the tours, because I can't keep up with it. But for now, I think this year I'll be fine to do it, and we'll see how big it gets. But
yeah, I'll just throw that out there. I think the one cool thing, like where you're at, and same with Mississippi, is why I think it's great is because people are going there for the weather, the seafood, the beaches. But you have families out there. I mean, do you have an age limit on your tours?
I don't. There's, the way I do it is I say, I talk about death a lot. There's a lot of death,
Yeah.
a lot of drownings, a lot of, but if you're okay with a kid hearing those stories, there's some stories I try not to tell. For instance, suicides. I don't like talking about suicides.
Right.
There is one story that I have to mention it, but I try to be very delicate with it. I say, well, this young lady was in love with a waterman who drowned, and she went in the water looking for him. And that's sort of how I tell the story. But I don't like talking about dark things. I mentioned in the very beginning that I did about 70 interviews with people. Some of them were possession stories. I don't do those either. I stay away from anything that might be seen as, too dark or too evil. There's at one point in the end of my tour that I show a picture of a dead body. It's sort of important to the story. And I tell people, if you are squeamish about seeing bodies, turn around. And it's actually, it's not a paranormal story. I end the tour on a story that's not at all paranormal. It's about a CIA agent that went missing on Solomon's Island. And it's a cool story, but it's not paranormal. It's espionage. It's height. So
no, I mean, because like I was saying, you're just in a great location because, like, my kids are older right now, like 16 and 19, but you're going to go somewhere because you're going there for the beach of seafood, and you're there 4 nights. You can only walk on the beach at night so many times. Like, what do you want to do? Let's go on a ghost tour. I mean,
Solomon's has so much going for it. Calvert County is a more rural county. It's beautiful. We've got, great farmland and seafood and just the small town feel. But you're right. At night, there's not a whole lot to do. We're not a night town. And so this was the ghost tours was actually one of the reasons that I was thinking about it. Was it's a great way to tell history, but it's also a great way for the tourists that are like, what do we do now that the sun is set? We can't go boating, we can't go fishing, we can't do a lot of things. So
no, man, that's neat. I mean, do you mostly do your tours like in the evening, or do you do day tours? Or
I do day tours, but so the way I have it set up is people can book the tour on my website. They go to my website and they go to the book now and they can select a day, and it's usually at 7 p.m. During the fall, during October, I offer 2 tours because it's so busy in the fall.
yeah.
But if people email me and they say I can't make it tonight, but I can do it during the day. If I'm available, I'll do a tour during the day. And then I also do tours with some of the, some of our tour boat companies. There's a lot of boating in Solomon's. And so I'll do tours with the boats where it'll be through the day that I'll give a boat ride tour.
Okay. Multitasking there, huh?
Yeah. However people want to learn the stories, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's cool. Tower Paranormal just jumped on. How's it going? Toward the end here, just wrapping stuff up. So your website, spookysolomons.com. What is it?
Yep. spookysolomons.com.
Everybody check that out. You check them out on Facebook. That's how, I don't know if I found you, you found me. It doesn't matter. Check his
my Facebook. This time of year, I do mostly local history and legends and lore. Some not so local, but mostly local history, legends, and lore. I try to post almost daily about some interesting fact. For instance, today I think it was on this day, 33 years ago, a coal barge sank off in the Patuxent River, right at the entrance of the Patuxent River, and they were transporting coal, and it flooded and it sank. It's just one of those little tidbits of information that people might find interesting. So that's what I do. But during the summer and fall, I do a lot more ghostly and advertising the tours a little bit more to the tourists that are down here.
Okay. So yeah, everybody, if you're going to Maryland or go to Maryland, it's
Go
a
to
good family
Maryland.
spot. Again, good food, good atmosphere. If you like that small town feel,
Yep.
hit it up. When do you, like you said, like this time of year, it's kind of, you don't do any tours this time of year because of the weather. When do you usually
I
take?
do. We've got we have 3 Friday the 13th, and people love to do tours on Friday the 13th. So we
Yeah.
had one last month, and we've got, or this month, and we've got one next month in March, and then I think the last Friday the 13th is in November.
Okay.
And so we did a tour last Friday the 13th, which was February the 13th, and it was cold. It was very cold, and my hands were so numb that I couldn't swipe my images to show people. But we had a good group, and most of them stayed to the end. They were pretty frozen, but most of them stayed. Yeah.
That's cool. I believe spirits are more active when it's cold, but I know you're doing history tours with a little paranormal, so.
Right. Well, the joke is that you can get the chills in multiple ways on my tour in the wintertime.
Yeah, going out in 25 degrees will give you chills. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I'm interested. I'm going to look up Solomon's Island because I'm always looking for new places just to hang out and check out, especially I love the small town feel. So,
yes, it's a, I'm going to show you. So if you go to my website, but you'll see some of the pictures. It's just beautiful, and it's a beautiful place to get some ice cream, get some crab cakes, and relax in a small town atmosphere. Go boating, go fishing.
So again, follow me all the socials. Do you have a YouTube or just Facebook and website?
I actually do have a YouTube, but it's not very. I just sort of do some fun things on there, but nothing.
I don't know if I can. YouTube's posting this now. YouTube is a pain in the butt. So, yeah, Tyler Paranormal. Any haunted B&Bs I can stay in the area? Yeah, before I do my tour. Do you have any haunted hotels or anything? Or
so I have to be careful. So there is a wonderful Airbnb or a wonderful bed and breakfast. I'm sorry. There's a wonderful bed and breakfast on the island. It's called the Solomon's Victorian Inn. It is one of the older, largest houses built on the island. It is beautiful, and the people that run it are absolutely fantastic. I asked them, "Is the place haunted?" And they said, "No, it's not haunted. Don't tell anybody it's haunted." Solomon's Victorian Inn, not haunted, but got a lot of history. And I get this question a lot. People say, "Solomon's Island, I didn't realize that was haunted." I say, anywhere where you have people living and dying, you've got stories.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like everybody always says like this place isn't haunted, this isn't that. If you ask enough questions, stuff's going to come answer. I mean, that's where we're sitting right now. There might be someone buried beneath us because we don't know. I mean, this world is old.
Yes,
but yeah, I mean,
so yeah, there's a lot of wonderful places to stay on the island and off the island, but if you're looking for that old world charm, staying in one of these old mansion houses, Solomon's Victorian Inn.
No, that's cool. Yeah, definitely going to look into that. Always looking for new places to go. I said my kids are getting older, so it'd be nice to take the wife out. She likes beaches. She likes southern beaches. Try explaining to her no matter what beach you're at, it's the same sun. But it doesn't work out too well for me. It doesn't matter. It's the same sun, but I get the, it's all about relaxation. When we go on vacations, we work a lot. So Solomon Island sounds like a great place to unwind, relax. You don't need a vacation after your vacation type of place. So,
and Deborah, I saw that if you're coming to Maryland, I'd love to see you down here.
Yeah, Deborah's part of Verona Ghost Chasers. Sorry, Deborah, I investigate with them all the time. So um, it is
Yeah,
the same.
yeah. Send me an email if you come down here. Lynn and I will get together with you. I don't want to speak for Lynn, but I'm sure she'd be happy we'd get together and show you some off the beaten paths places.
Yeah, they're great. Her and Nacho are great. So no, I mean, again, appreciate it. Always go over minute 40 now. I'm counting an hour 40. Sorry, but I appreciate you coming on. You know, I always tell this to everybody: keep doing what you're doing. It's unbelievable. Stories you told me, are chilly, like give me chills in my spine a little bit, and that's what's cool. Yeah, everybody who jumped on, Lynn, Deborah, Lynn. I can't read everybody's name. There's a lot of them in here. Tower Paranormal, Red Dinger. Thanks for all your questions and being part of it. And I'm sure if you have any questions for Adam, you can probably email him.
Absolutely.
And he'll probably help you out, lead you in the right direction. But again, appreciate it. Hope to talk to you soon. Maybe see you soon. You never know. I told that to the group in the UK, and they're like, "Yeah, right." And I will see them soon because I'm flying over there. So don't be surprised if I knock on your front door sometime. So
you're always welcome, Ryan.
I appreciate. Take care. Again, check him out. Check out his website. Check out his Facebook. See what Maryland has to offer.
Well, thank you, Ryan. It's been a pleasure.
You too. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.